Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. I know it's already March, but I'm finally getting around to producing this video where I'm going to talk about the games from 2025 that were my favorites. Now, I only had the chance to play 24 games that were produced in 2025, but I'm excited to tell you about my top 5 and another 5 honorable mentions, so I guess you could say it's sort of a top 10. If you're curious to see my list, stay tuned. Well, as I mentioned, I was only able to play 24 games that were released in 2025, but I've put here on BGG the games released in 2025 organized by their current board game ranking. And I'm not going to mention the ones that'll come later in the video, and I'm also going to skip over some games that I haven't played and aren't really interested in playing. But I also want to highlight a few games that I haven't played yet from 2025 that I really would like to. So scrolling down through these, I would like to mention Speakeasy. This is a game I would love to try, but haven't had a chance to. Iridia is in that same category, the Paths We Dare Tread. I would really love to give that game a shot as well. I'm very curious to try Hot Streak. Love to try Finspan. Magical Athlete's another one kind of on my radar. Luthier is one that I've heard a lot of good things about, would love to try. Moon Colony Bloodbath is another one I haven't played yet. Star Wars Battle of Hoth, I almost got a chance to play at the World Series of Board Gaming back in September, but didn't quite get it to the table. Take Time, I've heard a lot of good things about. Old King's Crown, I've also heard lots of good things about. My wife actually got a chance to play Sanctuary with some of our friends when she was visiting California. I really want to try that one. And Eternal Decks is another one that I've heard lots of great things and I'm very curious to try. The Anarchy, I think, looks pretty interesting. And then Sweetlands is one that I definitely want to try. The Hobbit There and Back Again I just received, but haven't had a chance to play. And let's see, we'll just go a little bit further. The Druids of Adora, that's one I really love Stefan Feld games, so that's one I definitely want to try. Covenant is one I've heard good things about that I'd like to try. Scarabrae, another one that I think I would love to try. And I think I'll stop there. Those are all the games in the top 2,000 currently. There are bunches of other ones that aren't even in that top 2,000 that I would also be curious to play. But at least that gives you a feel of some of the ones that I would love to have played but haven't gotten to. I see here at the bottom of the screen also Tend is another one I haven't played yet but would love to. So now let's get to the ones that I have played and what I thought about them. So number 5 is The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, trick-taking game, one of the longest titles in the history of board games. And this one is by Brian Bornmuller, and it's produced by Office Dog. And I got to play this one time. We went through, I think, 5 or 6 rounds, and I really did enjoy it. I really love the theme of The Lord of the Rings, and I had a fun time playing this game. I didn't purchase the game and don't own it, therefore, and so I don't know how often I will get back to it. Trick-taking is fun for me, but not necessarily one of my favorite styles of games, but it definitely made a memorable evening. We had a lot of fun kind of reliving in our minds those scenes from The Fellowship of the Ring, which happens to be one of my favorite movies. And so I would always be happy to come back to this game, but I'm not quite yet committed to buying it, so still, excellent game, and really enjoyed our time with it. The next one up is Orbit, a Reiner Knizia game with art by Vincent Dutray from Bitewing Games. And I played this one recently a couple of times, and this is just a really fun game of racing around the planets. And so you are trying to take your spaceship, as you can see here by this blue spaceship, and travel around and land on these planets, as you can see by this thick disc. You're limited in movement, but you can gain energy, and you have a hand of cards, and you're playing those cards to move. The cards have several different functions. They tell you how much energy you can gain. They tell you how far you're able to move your ship. And then they also tell you which planet you're supposed to move. So that's kind of a real quick nutshell of the game. It's a race to get to all of the planets and visit them first. We really had a great time with this, and the people that I played with and introduced it to right away said, I want to buy this game. And so I think it's going to be a hit with a lot of people. It's pretty simple to explain how to play. You just show a couple of cards and say, hey, you're going to look at your card, you're going to do these things. You pick which card you want to do. This chart shows you how you keep your hand limit, and this part of the chart shows you how much energy you can spend for extra movement. It's a pretty simple to understand game, but a lot of little thinkiness, and there's several modules you can build in. We played with a few of them now. There's also two sides to the board, so there's a more normal path where there's only one path for every planet's orbit, and then there's on the other side some split paths where some of the orbits can branch off and you choose which branch they take. So some really interesting things that happen in this game, Orbit. Really enjoyed that one and look forward to getting it to the game table again. Next up is Cretaceous Rails, and this one, the more I think about it, the more I want to play again, and so I actually did back the Kickstarter again, the second edition, I think with some advanced modules that are going to come with it. I played this at a friend's house down in California when we were visiting, and my first thought when we said we're going to play it, I thought, I'm not sure I'm really that interested in this game. Train games come and go with me, the dinosaur theme, it's okay, but nothing really appealing there. But this game by Ann Journey and put out by Spielcraft Games really caught me by surprise. As we played and I saw the different levels of thinking that you had to do and the timing, it really did impress me. You're basically traveling out on this board and you're having to deforest some of the board so you can see these dinosaurs, and you're building a train route and taking passengers out. And you have to bring things back to your train, like dinosaurs and things, to put in your park. But then your train needs to pass by certain areas so that the passengers that are with you are satisfied. And there's a really interesting mechanism. Let's see if I can find the board here. Yeah, so this board of tiles that's right here, kind of beside the game board with all the dinosaurs on it, is where you pick your actions. And you're going to put your marker on a spot, and you're going to get to do the actions beside that. And so choose, and you get to block things off as you go with that. So it was a really interesting decision space of trying to choose which actions. See, I was trying to find a picture. Yeah, I'm seeing probably from the same people, but trying to show a picture where you've got several people with their pawns marked out there showing which two actions they're picking. But it was really interesting and very intriguing, enough so that I did, like I said, end up backing the most recent Kickstarter. So looking forward to getting that in my collection and playing it again. Next up, and now we're down to 5432, my second favorite game that was produced in 2025. Another Lord of the Rings game. This one's The Fate of the Fellowship by Matt Leacock and put out by Z-Man Games. And for this one, it is a game that I got to play initially digitally and then got to play it physically at the World Series of Board Gaming, and just absolutely loved the game. I've loved Pandemic, but kind of got burned out on it after playing it so many times and playing multiple different iterations of it, and then the Legacy games. But this one really rejuvenated it for me with the Lord of the Rings theme. You do feel like you are trying to cooperate with the other partners of the Fellowship, and you're trying to get the ring to Mount Doom, and you got these Nazgul flying all over the place, and you got to battle, and you got to be sneaky, and it just really, for me, made me feel like I was sort of living out that story of the Fellowship of the Ring. And so it was a great experience for me, really enjoyed it, and can't wait to play it again. I haven't purchased it yet. It's kind of hard to find right now, but I think it's one that my wife would really enjoy because she always liked Pandemic even more than I did, and our son also did too. So I think we'll be able to get it to the table at different times of the year, and yeah, I really look forward to playing this again. Hopefully I can add it to my collection in the near future. So those are 5, 4, 3, and 2. Now I'm going to get into some honorable mentions, and I'll explain why I'm listing them in that category. The first one up is Vantage. And for me, Vantage is one that my first play was a solo play, and I really enjoyed it. Thought, wow, this could be kind of game of the year level for me. And then I played with my wife a couple of times, and we had some sort of hit or miss experiences with it, where sometimes we just felt like we're wandering around and didn't have much of a focus, and it felt a little ambiguous. And then other times it felt like we were really having a better experience. But overall, I had a much more fun time with it playing solo than I did with people, and I don't play games solo that much. So this is one that's on the border for me. I could see it going up, I could see it going down in terms of my estimation. But basically you are monitoring, or you're exploring this planet, and you saw those cards. See if I can find some more gameplay type of picture. Well, here, this will help a little bit. You've got this board where you're putting out the cards that you find as terms of items, and you meet animals, and there's some sentience that you interact with, and you're putting them on this board, and you are managing different resources, and you're trying to maintain your health, and I forget the name for the three, but the hearts and the stars and the hourglasses. There's like the time of your visit, and then your health, and I forget what the star is, but you're maybe morale or something. You're trying to maintain those. If you reach 0, then you lose, but you can have wins, and you could have epic wins if you achieve your goal and you also achieve a special objective. Like I said, when I played it solo, and maybe it's just because I happened to pick a mission where I actually found a thread of the trail and got on it right away, and then I found an objective that I could achieve, and I got an epic win in the very first place. So maybe that sort of rose the bar for me and my expectations, and then it was a real big drop the next time I played with my wife. So we'll see. I'd like to try it some more, both solo and with my wife, although like I said, I just don't play solo games that often, so this one's kind of on the fence for me at this point. I need to play it some more to decide whether it's going to rise or fall in my perspective. Next up is Emberleaf, and Emberleaf is by James Tomlin and Frank West of the Isle of Cats fame. And this game has the card dancing strategy that is the phrase for moving cards and shifting them and playing them at different times. Let's see if I can find a picture. Okay, so yeah, you have these boards and you're putting the cards, and some of them activate when you move them, some of them activate when you place them, some of them activate when they slide off the board, and you don't have to place them all the way to the far right and move them to the left. You can put them right on the edge of the left, and they do move from the right to the left. And so, yeah, you can put them wherever you want and try to categorize them, and you play them in certain orders when you activate them. And I can see this really rising in my preferred games. The reason I'm not putting in my top games is I did play the physical version at the World Series of Board Gaming, but I had to go compete, and so I couldn't finish the game. And so I haven't ever played a full game yet. I saw it's now on Board Game Arena, so I'm hoping to try it out there digitally. And yeah, if I enjoy the digital play, and I might then go looking for a physical copy for my own collection. So I really loved the art, and I liked the theme, and I liked the mechanisms. So I think this one really could rise, but just haven't even got a full play in, so that's why it's honorable mention. The next one, Cascadia Junior. Cascadia Junior, we've had a great time playing with our grandkids. It is just a simplified version of Cascadia. It has a lot of the same tropes of choosing different tiles for the animals and choosing different tiles for the territories, but the tiles are, I think they're 2-piece if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since we played, but you're trying to still get those same achievements as you build them out, and you're still trying to get patterns based on the different cards. So when you get certain patterns, like if you get 3 fish in a row, you get to put a fish on your mat. And on the backside of these fish and water and fox and meadow tokens are pine cones. And at the end, you don't know how many pine cones are on it till the end, and you flip them all over at the end and you see who has the most pine cones. So you're trying to make like clusters of terrain. If you get 3 that are connected, then you get a water token. If you get a chain of 3 animals, then you're going to get a fish for those 3 fish and a fox for those 3 fox. And so you can kind of see from this example that the chain of 3 fish gave them a fish token, and the 3 waters together give them the water, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of see how it plays. And it's a fun game. My kids, grandkids love playing it. And so, but I don't know that I would play it with adults, and so that's why I'm just putting it as an honorable mention. Great game for kids. Like I said, my grandkids absolutely love it. Stupor Mundi is another one that I really enjoy, but I've only played on the digital BGA version, so I need to get it to the table and give it a try with the physical game. But I've played it probably at least a dozen times on BGA and really enjoyed it. Even made a video on this channel walking through a digital play while it was either still on Kickstarter or GameFound. I forget which crowdfunding platform it was on, but it might have either been in that mode or just after that mode of crowdfunding. And I really enjoyed it. So I'm anxious to get this one to the table, but I can't, as much as I enjoyed it, I don't feel like I can say it's one of my top games of the year because I haven't actually even played the physical form yet. So another reason that the reason that it is another honorable mention. And then the next one is Zenith or Zenith. Again, I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that, but it is a game that I've also only played digitally, and I really love it. It's a push and pull kind of tug-of-war game. You're pushing and pulling, playing a tug-of-war of these planets moving up and down by the way you place your cards. When you place your cards, you can either move the planets, or you can play over here on this sideboard to the right where you're gaining different abilities, or not abilities, but like one-time effects for the most part. But then they change. So if you get the first level and then you also get the second level, when you get the second level, you also get to do the first level again. So, but they become more and more expensive as you work your way up that path. And then over here on the left, there's also sort of these lesser valuable bonuses that you can get, but sometimes you just need them to pick up some of the money or some of the, I think it's Zenithium, and I forget what the names of all these tokens are, or get some extra cards, or to take the leadership badge. There's a lot of the cards that score, especially if you have the leadership badge or if you give the leadership badge or things like that. So really interesting card play. I love the push and pull dynamic of it, and it's great on BGA. I would love to play the physical form of it sometime. I just don't own it, and don't know anyone who has it that I could play with. But that's my final honorable mention. So you've seen 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 5 honorable mentions. And if you've got really good eyesight, you can probably already see what my #1 game is of 2025, and that is Galactic Cruise by TK King, Dennis Northcott, and Colton Thompson from Kinson Key Games. And I have played it digitally multiple times, and I have played it physically as well. It's just a fabulous game, in my opinion. I enjoy the theme of it, making these ships, sending people out into space. You have to do a lot of things in sequence to get the ship parts, to advertise for your cruise, to inspire different people to come take your cruise. All the different things. You got to get oxygen, you got to get food, you got to have all these supplies ready for the launch. And it's got a really interesting, let's see if I can find a picture here that shows, let's see, go until I can find one that shows a better image. Let's see, I think this might give us a close view. So this is the player board that you can see here in the forefront. And so you can see how you're keeping track of your oxygen and your food and the flames. I can't remember what that energy or something, I forget what that stands for exactly. And you got these workers that you're placing out on the main board, and you have this grande worker you can also acquire. I think there's 2, yeah, grande workers you can acquire. See if I can find a better of the main central board that you're playing on out there, because that's one of the key features. All right, yeah. So this one doesn't show it in play exactly, but you have these 6 spots where you can send out your workers, but then you also have these gears that are on your player boards. And when you put these gears between the spots where you can go, it gives you access to do both of them by choosing one of them. So every time you put a worker out, you're going to get to do 2 actions. And if I choose this top middle one, and I have a gear between the top middle and the top right, I could do 1 action in the top middle and my 2nd action in the top right, because the gear allows me access to both that are connecting by those gears. There's also some other ways you can use the gears to gain special functions that are across the top of this central board here. And yeah, it's just, I love the way everything fits together. I love the theme of it. The rule book is like an employee manual. The first player marker is like your employee badge. They really just went above and beyond in terms of incorporating the theme and trying to make it a really well-produced game. I've loved my digital plays. I've loved the physical plays, and it is my #1 game of 2025. Now again, there are a lot of games that I haven't played, so if I didn't mention it anywhere in this video, chances are I didn't play it, because I only played 24 games that were produced that year. But I would love to hear in the comments down below what you think of my selections, and also what were your top games of 2025. So leave those comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching. This is Billy Indiana, signing off.